Hey, it's Ron again. I hope you're having a great day. Today we're going to talk about the sixth trumpet judgment, and that's in Revelation chapter 9, verse 12. It says this: "The first woe is past. Behold, two woes are still to come." So the last three trumpet judgments are called woes. So again, we looked at the fifth one, and now it's the sixth one. And it says this in verse 13. "Then the sixth angel blew his trumpet, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar before God, saying to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, 'Release the four angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates.' So the four angels who had been prepared for the hour, the day, the month, and the year were released to kill a third of mankind." So what happens is the fifth angel blows the trumpet, and there's a command to release the four angels at the river Euphrates. Now, again, it says here that these four angels are bound at the river Euphrates, so these are probably fallen angels or demons. So they're released, and it says they were prepared for this hour, day, month, and year. And why would he point that out? Why would God point that out? And take the time to do that. And the reason simply seems to be that he's pointing out that this isn't something that just happens accidentally, or God's going to just decide to do it. This is something that's been planned out. God's had it planned out to the exact time and the exact details of what's going to happen. So as we see Revelation happening, it's not just something that's happening unplanned. God knows what he's doing. He has a good reason for what he's doing, and what he's doing is right. And he's in complete control. So that's what he's pointing out here by showing that God has this completely planned out. And then he goes on, verse 16. "The number of mounted troops was twice 10,000 times 10,000. I heard their number." Twice 10,000 times 10,000 is 200 million. So along with these four demons, John sees a huge army of 200 million. "And this is how I saw the horses in my vision, and those who rode them. They wore breastplates the color of fire, and of sapphire, and of sulfur. And the heads of the horses were like lions' heads, and fire and smoke and sulfur came out of their mouths. By these three plagues, a third of mankind was killed by the fire and the smoke and the sulfur coming out of their mouths. For the power of the horses is in their mouths and in their tails. For their tails are like serpents with heads, and by means of them they wound." So here he gives a description of the riders and the horses. An interesting thing here is that these horses have, what does he say, heads like lions, and they breathe smoke, sulfur, and fire. And they have also, we see they have tails that are like serpents that cause a lot, pain and wound people. So these are obviously not regular horses. These are some supernatural type of horse. And so it probably suggests that the riders also are not people. They're probably demons. So this huge army of 200 million, what are probably demons riding on these unusual horses, they come out and they kill, it says, a third of mankind. Now if you take, when we saw under one of the seal judgments, a quarter of mankind was killed. And then if you take that, and here a third of those left are killed, that alone would equal half the human population being killed, just in these two judgments. And there's going to be other people killed besides this. So just in these two alone, half the people are killed. So it shows that this time, the 7 years of tribulation, where all these judgments are going to happen, is going to be a great time of death and destruction. All this bad stuff is going to happen, and again, it's judgment, and it's God doing what's right. Then it goes on in verse 20. "The rest of mankind who were not killed by these plagues did not repent of their works, or the works of their hands, nor give up worshiping demons and idols of gold and silver and bronze and stone and wood, which cannot see or hear or walk, nor do they repent of their murders or their sorceries or their sexual immorality or their thefts." So even the rest of the people who do survive even when they see all this stuff happening, they're still not going to repent. And just think about it. With all this stuff going on, it's going to be clear. And we saw earlier when it says the sky was opened up and the people wanted the rocks and mountains to fall on them. They said to hide us from the one on the throne and his lamb and his judgment. So these people, it's clear what's happening. It's God judging them for their sin. But it says here in verse 20, with all this proof and all these things going on, all this judgment, they're still not going to repent. And it just shows the hardness of the human heart. And another thing it shows us is it's not just proof that people need to become Christians. It's they need their heart softened. So for us as Christians, it's an important lesson that we need to share the gospel. And I'm a big one on sharing science. I love science. And I'm a big one on sharing that science clearly supports creation. And science clearly refutes evolution. And I love sharing that. I think that's important. It's important to share the gospel facts with people. But we also need to remember that it's very important to pray for God to soften people's hearts, to bring them to Him, because that's what really is needed. Without that, they're not going to become Christians. It's God who draws people to Him. So, it's good to get out there, share with people science and the gospel, but we really, really have to make sure that we're praying for people's hearts to be opened and that they'll come to God. So please get out there and do that. Well, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time.